But you're going to start us off.
Morning, how's it going? I'm Rob Akers, Alyssa DiNatale. We were just talking about one of our favorite tools when it comes to helping people get into good lifestyle and nutrition habits, and that is templates, frameworks, and or routines. So we were talking about how one thing that a lot of our clients tend to roll their eyes at when we're like, okay, let's talk about nutrition. Food journaling, calorie counting, you just get this sense of, oh, God damn
It's
it.
overwhelming, and it's like such a dread.
Yeah.
It takes the joy out of everything.
Well, and the truth is, yeah, it is a good amount to manage. And we're not here to say that things like calorie counting and food journaling are not important in general. They can definitely be very useful tools. But what we're trying to push people in the direction of is get into a routine. Build a meal template that is ideal for their goals and their ability levels. So one thing that works very well for her and I are go-to meals. What's your go-to meal on a weekly basis?
So pretty much every day I have a gigantic salad
Gigantic
for lunch.
salad.
Sometimes breaking my fast with it. Sometimes it is a true like second meal.
Yeah, and you fast a little bit in the morning, right?
So yeah, like 3 or 4 days out of the 5-day work week, I fast in the morning, and then post workout, like all of my productive time.
Yeah,
then
the
I
morning
have
hours.
a vegetable feast.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, and I do the same thing. I fast in the morning, but that's because I teach a lot in the morning. I try to get a lot of my writing done in the morning. The bulk of all my work during the day happens during those morning hours. So if I start my day off with a 400 to 500 calorie meal, I feel sluggish, I feel slower. So I tend to fast right there. But every single day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes even on the weekends, my lunch tends to be the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I've just built because I found that years ago when I had to, especially back when I used to work in the food industry and everything, when I had to sit there and figure out what my lunch was going to be midday, it just took up a lot of mental capacity.
Mm-hmm.
It was just always like, oh God, like, now I got to go make myself lunch and all these things. So I got to the point where my lunch for the past few years has been 4 eggs, some spinach, and some rice. I don't even have to think about it. I go home, I make it, and it's kept calories very, very low. They're things that I enjoy, and they're very easy to make.
And I think that's the thing, like, when you find your go-to meal, it has to be something that you enjoy eating. So,
Absolutely.
like, it should be simple, it should be easy to make, it should meet all of your nutritional needs, but it needs to be something that you enjoy.
Absolutely.
And it shouldn't be that, like, oh yeah, my same old lunch that I have
Am I going to
every
have
day.
a beer and a, hoagie, or am I going to have, like, this mega salad or whatever you
Yeah.
just said? Exactly.
And it's a personal preference.
Yeah,
you have
when
to
you-
make it based on that.
Absolutely. When you eliminate choices and decision making, it just, when you have less choices, it just makes there's less to manage.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, go-to meals are the key in building a routine or a nutritional template, what we're talking about. So, okay, what you would do is Monday through Friday, you would have 1 to 2 go-to meals. The nice thing about that is this is where you might have to do a little bit of calorie counting, a little bit of food journaling in
Up
the
front.
beginning. Up front.
Short term.
Just to audit things. Find out what's going on there. You need to find something that you enjoy, find something that's healthy, and find something that's easy to make. And you would just put that in right in your afternoon hours. You could also do the same thing for the morning. We fast. In the past, I've used protein shake replacements in the morning hours.
Same.
But yeah, that would be the design. So it would be the same exact thing in the morning, the same exact thing in the afternoon, and then at dinner, that's where you could have your variety. The time that you spend with your family, that's where a little bit of variety can happen for people. Does that tend to work for you pretty well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people do well with a breakfast that's super simple and just to the point. Like, no frills, get the protein in, get the fiber in, and then carry on with your life. there's more willpower in the morning and there's less time in the morning. So if you make that the same thing, it's always taken care of. The lunch is the real food meal that you enjoy. And then the dinner you're sharing with people you love. And you don't want, like, you know, your husband might not eat the same way as you or your girlfriend or whatever. So like that's when you make the meal that you really like turn into that shared meal experience.
Sure.
And you can keep it flexible. Like once you know like what your lunch calories look like and all of that, you kind of get a feel for what your plate should look like at dinner. And you don't need to measure everything and be super exact and be like weighing your chicken.
Yeah.
You just know
You just
that
already
like a
know what
serving
it's gonna
looks like
be.
this, and you know that your veggies should look like this and that your carbs should look like, you know, it's just so much easier.
It's much easier to manage, and then that kind of eliminates food journaling and calorie counting over the long term, because if you have that template already set, you already know what it's going to be, all right? Build the muscle of discipline when it comes to that template for a whole month. And then after you feel very, very confident and set and sound into that template, well, then you can start implementing a little bit more variety into your life, and you can start making replacements on that template.
I was just gonna say that you're gonna start naturally making those substitutions. Like over the summer, you're eating tomatoes maybe because they're in season, and then as it goes over to fall, you're like making those changes from tomatoes to fresh carrots. And then you're thinking, oh, carrots are a little bit starchier, you know, like, so you have to, over time, like, you re-audit, right? So you might
like
stick to
that,
the same
audit.
thing for 2 weeks, you start getting a little more flexible, you start substituting a little bit for 2 weeks, all of a sudden you're kind of at a different place, and you just re-audit that. And you just see what substitutions you've made, and you're, like, into a different kind of salad, or you're into a different kind of whatever.
Yeah.
And you just re-audit every once in a while and just kind of check in and make sure you're still on track.
And that's really powerful. So templates, frameworks, and routines tend to work better in the long term more than food journaling and calorie counting. Nobody wants to calorie count and food journal forever, okay? Sometimes in the beginning it can be very useful in building your template, but get yourself into a routine, get into your ideal template. In the long term, that will help you manage your weight and not lose your mind a little bit more.
Absolutely.
All right? Well, I'm Rob Akers.
I'm Allie D. See you next time.